Welcome back to The Widow Who Wears a Mask. If you haven't watched part 1, pause this video now and watch it first, so you don't miss any of the twists that brought us here. Before we continue, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss the next episode. Now, without wasting another second, let's dive into part 2. I didn't sleep. Not for a single moment. Finn's words kept echoing inside my head. Your husband was murdered because he discovered the conspiracy. I sat beside the bedroom window as dawn slowly painted the sky pink and gold. My untouched tea had gone cold hours ago. The official story had always been simple. My husband had become sick. The fever had taken him quickly. Everyone had mourned. Everyone had moved on. But now, I knew it had all been a lie. I closed my eyes tightly. How much of my life has been built on lies? A soft knock came at my bedroom door. My lady, a maid called gently. Lady Helena wishes to see you. Of course she did. She always did. I stood slowly, smoothed the wrinkles from my black widow gown, and covered my face with a small black veil. By the time I opened the door, the frightened young widow had returned. At least, that was what everyone believed. The breakfast table was unusually quiet. Lady Helena carefully stirred her tea before looking at me. You seem tired. I didn't sleep well. You should stop reading before bed. I forced a small smile. I'll remember that. She placed her spoon down with a soft clink. There has been another robbery. I looked up. The Raven. She nodded. Yes. Her voice became sharper. That criminal continues to embarrass noble families. I lowered my eyes. I heard people say the stolen money keeps appearing in poor villages. Lady Helena laughed. A foolish rumor. Perhaps. No thief gives away gold. She leaned forward. People steal because they are greedy. I quietly folded my hands beneath the table. Not everyone. Later that afternoon, the city buzzed with whispers. People gathered in marketplaces. Servants whispered while buying bread. Children laughed as they chased one another through the streets. Everyone spoke about the Raven. Some called the outlaw a criminal. Others called the Raven a hero. No one knew the truth. Across the city, Kael Draven stood alone in his office. The black raven mask rested on his desk. He stared at it for a long time. Then he reached for several reports. His steel-gray eyes moved carefully across every page. Another noble robbed. He opened the next report. No servants harmed. Another. Gold missing. Another. No deaths. His fingers stopped. Something didn't fit. He stood and walked toward a large map hanging on the wall. Small pins marked every robbery. Red circles surrounded the homes of corrupt nobles. Nothing else. He frowned. No merchants. No craftsmen. No ordinary homes. Only nobles. His gaze slowly narrowed. This isn't random. A knock sounded. Come in. A young officer entered. Commander. What is it? We searched the markets again. And no sign of the stolen gold. Kael remained silent. There must be another hiding place. The officer waited. Finally, Kael spoke. No. The young man blinked. Sir, the gold isn't hidden. Then where is it? Kael picked up his cloak. We're looking in the wrong place. That evening, Kael stood near one of the oldest wells in the capital. A little girl sat nearby, happily eating fresh bread. An elderly woman smiled as she handed bowls of soup to several hungry children. Kael quietly watched them. An old man noticed him. Can I help you, Commander? Kael pointed toward the food. Who paid for all this? The old man smiled warmly. We don't know. What do you mean? Someone leaves bags of gold every few weeks. Kael's expression changed. They leave before sunrise. No name. The old man shook his head. Only a small black feather. Kael looked down. A single black feather rested beside the empty bag. His heartbeat slowed. The Raven. Night covered the capital once again. Kael walked alone through narrow streets until he reached an abandoned warehouse. One of his informants had whispered about strange people entering beneath the building. He pushed open the old wooden door. Dust filled the air. Broken barrels lay scattered across the floor. Nothing unusual. Until he noticed fresh footprints. Someone had been here recently. He followed them. Behind a pile of empty crates, he found a hidden trapdoor. He slowly lifted it. Cold air drifted upward. Stone steps disappeared into darkness. Kael drew his sword. Then he descended. The underground tunnels stretched farther than he expected. Old brick walls glistened with water. The air smelled damp. Small lanterns burned at different corners. Someone maintained these tunnels. He walked slowly. Every sound echoed. Voices drifted through the darkness. Kael immediately stepped behind a stone pillar. 2 villagers approached carrying empty baskets. A young woman smiled. "I still can't believe it." Her companion laughed. "Neither can I. The ravens saved our village." They continued walking. "We finally repaired the bridge. My children have food again, and the orphanage received blankets before winter." Kael remained perfectly still. The pair disappeared around the corner. Only then did he move again. He continued deeper into the tunnels. Soon he reached a large underground room. His eyes widened. Shelves lined the walls, not filled with treasure, filled with supplies, sacks of flour, medicine, warm clothes, blankets, children's shoes, wooden toys, lists covered a nearby table. Kael picked one up. Village names, amounts of gold delivered, food purchased, medical supplies sent. Every single coin was carefully recorded. Nothing had been kept. Nothing had been wasted. Every stolen coin had been given away. Kael slowly lowered the paper. His grip tightened. "This!" He looked around the room again. "This can't be!" Everything he believed about the raven shattered before his eyes. The outlaw wasn't becoming rich. The outlaw wasn't building an army. The outlaw had been feeding the kingdom. While the nobles grew richer, someone they called a criminal had been keeping innocent people alive. Kael looked toward the ceiling, toward the city above, toward the palace. His voice was barely a whisper. "What kind of kingdom?" He closed his eyes. "Have I been protecting?" Meanwhile, Finn hurried through another section of the underground tunnels, carrying a leather satchel full of copy documents. He smiled to himself. "Seraphina will want to see these." His footsteps echoed. He turned a corner, then stopped. The tunnel ahead was empty. Too empty. His smile faded. "Hello!" No answer. He slowly reached for the small knife hidden inside his boot. A voice echoed behind him. "I wouldn't." Finn spun around. 5 armed men stepped from the shadows. Their faces were hidden beneath black hoods. He backed away. "Who are you?" One man smiled cruelly. "His Highness wishes to speak with you." Finn ran. The assassins chased him immediately. He darted through narrow passages. Left. Right. Up a short staircase. Almost there. A rope suddenly tightened around his legs. He crashed hard onto the stone floor. The satchel slid away. Papers scattered everywhere. Finn groaned and tried to stand. Strong hands grabbed his arms. "No!" He struggled. "Let me go." One assassin punched him across the face. Blood filled his mouth. The leader calmly gathered the scattered papers. "So," he smiled beneath his hood, "we found the messenger." The next morning, I waited inside the abandoned clockmaker's shop. The small room felt strangely quiet. Finn was late. Very late. He had never been late before. I paced the floor. "Where are you?" An hour passed. Then another. Still nothing. A sudden knock echoed from the front door. 3 slow knocks. Then 2. Not Finn's signal. I quietly reached for the hidden dagger beneath the table. The door creaked open. A frightened street boy stepped inside. His clothes were dirty. His breathing was uneven. Are you the lady they told me to find?" I frowned. "Who?" The boy handed me a folded piece of paper. "A soldier gave me this." Before I could ask another question, he ran away. My heart pounded as I unfolded the letter. Only one sentence was written. "If you want Finn alive, come alone." Beneath it, a golden lion seal. "Prince Lucian." The paper slipped slightly in my trembling hands. No. Please. I turned the page over. Another message waited. "The raven must surrender before sunset, or your friend dies." For several long moments, I couldn't breathe. Finn had stood beside me through everything. He had risked his life again and again. Because of me. Now, he was paying the price. I slowly walked back toward my hidden room. The black leather armor rested where I had left it. My sword leaned against the wall. The throwing knives lay neatly beside it. I looked at each weapon. Then, one by one, I set them aside. The leather armor remained hanging on its stand. The sword stayed against the wall. The knives remained untouched. I untied the cloth binding around my chest, pulled my braid loose, let my long platinum blonde hair fall freely over my shoulders. Finally, I removed the black clothing completely. There would be no Raven tonight, only Seraphina. I put on a simple dark dress and wrapped a plain cloak around my shoulders. No mask, no weapons, no disguise. If Prince Lucien wanted the Raven, he would have to face the woman beneath the mask. Without another word, I stepped out into the fading evening light and walked alone toward Prince Lucien's fortress to save Finn. The road to Prince Lucien's fortress felt longer than any journey I had ever taken. The evening wind brushed against my face as I walked alone, my plain dark cloak wrapped tightly around my shoulders. My hands felt strangely empty without my sword. Every step reminded me that I had left behind the Raven. Tonight, I was only Seraphina, not a fighter, not an outlaw, just a woman trying to save her friend. The fortress stood on a rocky hill outside the capital, its tall stone walls glowing orange beneath rows of burning torches. Guards stood at every gate, their spears shining in the fading light. I stopped before the massive iron doors. "I've come alone," I called. The guards exchanged quick looks. One disappeared inside. Moments later, the heavy gates groaned open. "His Highness is waiting." I nodded without speaking and walked inside. The gates slammed shut behind me. The sound echoed through the courtyard. There was no turning back now. 2 guards escorted me through long stone hallways lit by flickering torches. The fortress felt cold, empty. Every footstep echoed against the walls. At the end of the hallway stood 2 large wooden doors decorated with golden lions. One guard pushed them open. The throne room came into view. Prince Lucien sat comfortably in an elegant chair that looked almost like a throne. His crimson and gold clothes shimmered beneath dozens of candles. Around him stood several powerful nobles, judges, merchants, military officers, men whose names I had seen inside the stolen ledgers. Finn knelt in the middle of the room. His hands were tied behind his back. A bruise darkened one side of his face. Blood stained the corner of his mouth. The moment he saw me, his eyes widened. "No!" His voice echoed through the room. "Seraphina, you shouldn't have come." A guard struck him across the shoulder. "Quiet!" I took a step forward. "Let him go." Prince Lucien smiled. His smile looked warm. His eyes did not. "You actually came." "I kept my promise." "You did." He slowly stood. "I admire loyalty." I looked at Finn again. "You said if I came alone, he'd be free." Lucien chuckled softly. "I did say that." He walked down the steps until only a few feet separated us. But first, he tilted his head. "I want to meet the famous Raven." Silence filled the room. I said nothing. Lucien sighed dramatically. "So stubborn." He snapped his fingers. 2 guards grabbed my arms. I didn't fight. Another guard pulled back my hood. My long platinum blonde hair spilled over my shoulders. Whispers spread through the room. "Lady Seraphina, the widow." "It can't be." Lucien smiled wider. "Oh, but it is." He slowly walked around me. "The kingdom's most wanted outlaw." He stopped beside me. "Lady Seraphina Vale." The room exploded with shocked voices. "Impossible. She robbed us." "She's the Raven?" I closed my eyes for a moment. The secret was gone. There was no hiding anymore. Lucien raised both hands. "Quiet." The room slowly fell silent again. He looked at me with obvious amusement. "You fooled everyone." His voice became colder. "Even your own family." I lifted my chin. "You fooled the kingdom." His smile faded. One of the nobles stepped forward. "She should be executed immediately." Another nodded. "Hang her before sunrise." "She's a traitor. A thief. A criminal." Each word struck like a stone. Finn struggled against his ropes. "She's none of those things." A guard hit him again. I flinched. "Stop!" Lucien raised one hand. The room became quiet again. "You still care about your friends." He looked toward Finn. "How touching." Without warning, Lucien drew a dagger. He walked toward Finn. My heart stopped. "No." The blade rested against Finn's throat. Lucien looked back at me. "One confession." He smiled. "Tell everyone why you became the Raven." I stared at him. "If I refuse." Finn winced as the dagger pressed closer. "You won't." I took a slow breath. Then another. Finally, I spoke. I stole from corrupt nobles. The room remained silent. I never stole from innocent people. I looked around at every face. I gave every coin to hungry families. No one answered. To orphanages. I swallowed. To villages destroyed by impossible taxes. One judge laughed. Lies! I immediately looked at him. Is it? His smile disappeared. You accepted bribes. I turned toward another man. You seized farms from widows. Then another. You sold medicine meant for hospitals. One by one, their faces changed. Fear, anger, guilt. I pointed directly at Lucien. And you helped them. The prince laughed loudly. A touching story. He slowly clapped his hands. Very inspiring. He turned toward the nobles. Unfortunately, his voice became sharp. A thief's words mean nothing. Heavy footsteps suddenly echoed outside. The large doors burst open. Royal guards rushed inside. Behind them, Kael Draven. He walked into the room with his sword already drawn. His eyes immediately found me. Then, my uncovered face. His footsteps slowed. His expression froze. For the first time since meeting him, the calm commander looked completely shocked. His eyes moved from me to my platinum blonde hair, then to the empty hood lying on the floor. Realization slowly filled his face. He whispered, Lady Seraphina. No one spoke. The silence felt endless. Lucien smiled. Commander. He spread his arms proudly. I present your famous raven. Kael didn't answer. He simply stared at me. I couldn't meet his eyes. Not after everything. Finally, he spoke. You. His voice was quieter than usual. It was you. I nodded slowly. Yes. You robbed every noble house. Yes. You fought me. Yes. The mask. I lowered my eyes. It was mine. A long silence followed. Then Kael looked toward Lucien. Release the prisoners. Lucien blinked. What? I said. Kael's voice became firm. Release them. Lucien laughed. Commander, have you lost your mind? Kael didn't move. Instead, he looked at me again. Tell me everything. I took a deep breath. My husband discovered the corruption. Kael listened without interrupting. He found proof. He wanted to expose it. They murdered him. The room became very still. They called it illness. I shook my head. It wasn't. They poisoned him. Kael slowly turned toward the gathered nobles. None of them met his eyes. I continued. The stolen documents prove they have been stealing from the kingdom for years. They bribed judges. They raised taxes. They starved villages. They killed anyone who learned the truth. My voice began shaking. They killed my husband. Kael looked at Lucien. Is this true? Lucien smiled. Do you really believe a thief? I asked you a question. Lucien's smile disappeared. Be careful, Commander. Kael's grip tightened around his sword. I've spent my life serving this kingdom. His voice remained calm. But if what she says is true... He slowly looked around the room. Then I've been protecting criminals. Lucien stepped backward. Arrest them both. No one moved. The guards hesitated. Kael drew his sword completely. Its sharp edge reflected the candlelight. I won't ask again. Lucien shouted. Commander Draven. Kael answered without looking at him. My duty is to protect innocent people. He looked at me. Not corruption. Chaos erupted. Several nobles rushed toward the doors. Others called for guards. Swords left their sheaths. Kael quickly cut Finn's ropes. Can you run? Finn rubbed his wrists. I can. Kael turned toward me. Stay behind me. Before I could answer, 3 guards attacked. Kael blocked the first strike. I grabbed the fallen guard's sword from the floor. Old instincts returned immediately. I stepped beside Kael. Back to back. Just like 2 people who had fought together for years. You still left your weapons behind, he said quietly. I found another one. A tiny smile appeared on his face. Good. More guards charged. Steel clashed. Finn ducked beneath a swinging sword before knocking over a large table. Food and silver plates crashed across the floor. The room filled with shouting. Stop them. Don't let them escape. Kael pointed toward a side door. This way. We ran. Guards chased us through narrow hallways. I pushed over a wooden shelf. It crashed behind us, slowing our pursuers. Finn kicked open another door. Cold night air rushed inside. We sprinted across the fortress courtyard. Arrows flew past us. One struck the ground beside my feet. Another hit the stone wall. Kael grabbed my hand. Run! We reached the outer gate. Finn pulled a hidden lever beside the wall. The old gate slowly lifted. Go! We slipped underneath, just before it slammed shut again. The guards pounded against the locked gate behind us. Their angry shouts faded as we disappeared into the dark forest. For the first time, Kael Draven had abandoned the kingdom. For the first time, I wasn't running alone. Together, we had become fugitives, hunted by the royal guards, hunted by corrupt nobles, hunted by the very kingdom we had both once tried to protect. Hours later, deep inside the forest, we hid inside an abandoned hunter's cabin. Finn rested against one wall, exhausted. Kael stood near the window, watching for anyone following us. I sat quietly beside the fireplace. None of us spoke, until the cabin door creaked open. Every sword immediately rose. An elderly woman stepped slowly inside, leaning on an ebony cane topped with a golden raven. Lady Helena! Her emerald eyes settled on me. So, she sighed, the truth is finally out. I stood. What do you want? She looked at Kael, then Finn. Finally, back at me. Your husband knew he was going to die. My heart pounded. What are you talking about? Lady Helena's expression remained unreadable. He left something behind. I stepped closer. What? She tightened her grip on her cane. Hidden evidence. My breath caught. The final proof. Her cold eyes locked onto mine. Proof powerful enough to bring down the entire royal court. The room fell completely silent. Then Lady Helena spoke the words that sent ice through my veins. But someone else is already searching for it. The cabin fell silent after Lady Helena's words. No one moved. No one even seemed to breathe. I stared at her, trying to understand what I had just heard. My husband. My voice came out barely above a whisper. He left evidence. Lady Helena nodded once. He knew he would not live long. My hands slowly tightened into fists. And you never told me? Her eyes lowered for the first time since I had known her. I couldn't. You wouldn't, I corrected. She looked back at me. I was afraid. I laughed bitterly. Afraid? You think fear excuses everything? Kael quietly stepped between us before my anger could grow. Where is the evidence? Lady Helena looked at him. Hidden beneath the old royal chapel. Finn frowned. The chapel inside the palace grounds? Yes. She slowly nodded. There is a secret room beneath the altar. My heart pounded. My husband hid it there? He trusted no one. Lady Helena took a deep breath. He believed that if the truth ever came out, the kingdom would still have a chance. Kael looked toward me. We have to move. Finn quickly grabbed his satchel. If Lucian knows about this, he'll get there first. I finished. Without wasting another moment, we left the cabin. The journey back to the capital felt different. Only a few days ago, I had sneaked through the city in a mask. Now, every soldier was searching for my face. Posters covered the streets. Wanted. Lady Seraphina Vale. The Raven. People gathered around them. Some looked angry. Others quietly tore the posters down when the guards weren't looking. One elderly woman caught my eye as we passed through a narrow alley. She recognized me. Instead of shouting, she smiled. Then she pressed a warm loaf of bread into my hands. For the children, she whispered. Tears filled my eyes. Thank you. She gently squeezed my hand. No. Her smile grew. Thank you. That night, we slipped through an old drainage tunnel beneath the palace walls. The air smelled damp. Water dripped steadily from the stone ceiling. Finn carried a small lantern. Kael walked in front with his sword ready. I stayed close behind him. Almost there, Lady Helena whispered. None of us fully trusted her. But we had no choice. The tunnel ended beneath the abandoned royal chapel. Dust covered everything. Broken benches lay scattered across the floor. Moonlight shone through cracked stained-glass windows. The chapel looked forgotten. Lady Helena pointed toward the old altar. There, Finn and I hurried over. We pushed the heavy stone aside together. It barely moved. Kael stepped beside us. Together, all three of us pushed. The altar slowly scraped across the floor. Hidden beneath it, stone steps disappeared into darkness. We climbed down. The room below was small, cold, silent. In the middle stood a single wooden chest. My heart raced. I found it. I knelt before the chest. My hands trembled as I opened the old lock. Inside rested several journals, letters, official seals, and one leather-bound book. I recognized the handwriting immediately. My husband's. Tears blurred my vision. I gently picked up the journal. My love! My voice broke. You really tried. Footsteps suddenly echoed above us. Kael looked up sharply. We're not alone. A loud crash shook the chapel. Then another. Finn blew out the lantern. Darkness swallowed us. Voices echoed from above. Search everywhere. Find the evidence. Prince Lucien had arrived. We rushed back upstairs. The chapel doors burst open. Dozens of royal guards flooded inside. Behind them stood Prince Lucien. His perfect smile had vanished. His amber eyes burned with anger. There they are. He slowly drew his sword. Kill them. The guards charged. Kael stepped forward immediately. Stay behind me. Steel clashed. The chapel filled with shouting. I tucked the journal safely beneath my cloak before drawing my sword from one of the fallen guards. Finn grabbed a wooden staff. I've always wanted to do this. He swung hard. A guard tumbled backward into another. Despite everything, I couldn't help smiling. You've been practicing. A little. Kael blocked 3 attacks at once. Less talking. More fighting. Another wave of guards rushed us. I met them head-on. Months. Years. Of secret training guided every movement. Strike. Turn. Block. Disarm. I never aimed to kill. Only to stop them. Prince Lucien watched calmly from the back. Then he slowly pulled a crossbow from one of his soldiers. He aimed directly at Kael. My eyes widened. Kael! He turned just as Lucien released the bolt. Without thinking, I threw myself toward him. The arrow struck my shoulder instead. Pain exploded through my arm. I cried out. Kael caught me before I fell. Seraphina! I'm okay. You are not. He gently broke the arrow shaft. His eyes filled with worry. I said I'm okay. He smiled sadly. You always lie about being hurt. I almost laughed. Maybe. His expression hardened. He slowly stood, then looked directly at Lucien. This ends now. Their swords met in the middle of the chapel. Neither man spoke. Steel rang through the room. Lucien attacked with speed. Kael answered with skill. The battle seemed perfectly even. Around them, the guards slowly began lowering their weapons. Everyone watched. Finally, Kael knocked Lucien's sword from his hand. It slid across the floor. Lucien stumbled backward. Kael placed his blade against the prince's throat. It's over. Lucien laughed. No. He suddenly grabbed a nearby torch and threw it onto the broken wooden benches. Flames spread immediately. Smoke filled the chapel. The evidence burns with us. No. I rushed toward the chest. Finn followed. Together we grabbed every journal we could carry. Burning beams began crashing around us. Kael pulled me away just before part of the ceiling collapsed. We have to go. Smoke chased us through the halls. The fire spread quickly into nearby palace rooms. Bells rang across the capital. People shouted outside. The palace was burning. Morning came. The fire had finally been stopped. The great throne room was crowded. The king himself sat upon the throne. His face looked older than I expected. Tired. Sad. Before him stood every surviving noble. Every royal officer. Every judge. Prince Lucien knelt in chains. Lady Helena stood quietly beside him. I stepped forward, carrying my husband's journal. Kael stood beside me. The king looked at us. Speak. My hands trembled. Then I opened the journal. I read every page. Every name. Every payment. Every murder. Every betrayal. The room slowly filled with shocked whispers. Then Finn handed the king the stolen ledgers. Kael presented the recovered letters. One by one, the truth unfolded before everyone. A judge confessed. A merchant broke down crying. Several nobles tried to run. The guards stopped them. Prince Lucien remained silent. Finally, the king slowly stood. His voice echoed through the throne room. My own son. He closed his eyes. Helped poison innocent people. No one answered. Tears filled the king's eyes. I failed this kingdom. He looked toward me. No. I gently shook my head. They failed you. the king walked down from the throne. He stood before me. Then, to everyone's surprise, he bowed his head. I judged you without knowing the truth. I froze. I hunted you. He continued. I allowed lies to spread. He looked into my eyes. Lady Seraphina Vale. His voice became stronger. The kingdom owes you its life. The throne room erupted. The innocent nobles applauded. The servants smiled through tears. People who had once feared the raven now cheered. Not because of the mask, but because the truth had finally won. The corrupt nobles were arrested. Prince Lucian was taken away in chains. Lady Helena confessed every crime she had hidden for years. Justice had finally come. Several weeks later, the city looked different. Children laughed openly in the streets. Markets were full again. The orphanage had fresh food. Villages received supplies without fear. No one whispered about the raven anymore. Instead, they spoke with gratitude. I stood on the palace balcony beside Kael. The evening sun painted the kingdom in warm gold. He smiled at me. So, I looked at him. So, no more masks. I smiled. I don't think I'll need one. He gently reached for my hand. This time, I didn't pull away. I spent so long chasing you. And now I'd rather walk beside you. I looked across the peaceful kingdom. For the first time in years, I wasn't afraid. Not of tomorrow. Not of the truth. Not anymore. Together, we looked toward a future built on honesty instead of fear. And that's how Seraphina Vale finally unmasked the truth, avenged her husband, and proved that justice always finds its way. What did you think of the ending? Did Seraphina make the right choices, or would you have done things differently? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping romance and mystery stories. See you in the next adventure.